You don't think I'd leave the Cotton Bowl after that game without getting a souvenir to commemorate the game. As you can tell, my voice is still hoarse, similar from the Nebraska game, for cheering on our Sooners at the Cotton Bowl. So I'm going to do my best to talk as much as I can through it and minimize my coughing. But if I cough a whole lot, just excuse me for just a moment. But guys, final score, OU 55, Texas 48. Before this game, we were all joking, what do we call this game? Is it the Red River Shootout? Is it the Red River Rivalry? Is it the Red River Showdown? What do we actually call this game? Fast forward to yesterday afternoon, what do you call this game? Is it the Red River Miracle? Is it the Red River Comeback? Is it the Red River Magic? I was joking with my friend Kayla, the one I went to the game with. I said, it was hell of a way to honor the 20-year anniversary of Jason White and the Roy Williams Superman play. It's just crazy how that game went. I'm still riding high on emotions from it because how much of an emotional roller coaster it was from it. I have people still messaging me all the way from yesterday afternoon to today from our own fan base, from other fan bases, and people who don't even watch football just call me and congratulate me saying like, my dude, that was a damn good game. And what's funny is that has only happened once in my entire life where someone has called and congratulated us, patted us on the back. And that was the OU game against Alabama back in the Sugar Bowl in 2014. That was the only other time. To me, the college football world recognized this game, and they wanted to definitely like take notice of like, yeah, regardless of scores, regardless of the rivalry, that was a good game, and they left everything on the field. We know they left everything on the field because as of this recording, the University of Texas has still not tweeted out the final score of the game. We hurt Texas's feelings on this one. This one hurt them. This one was hurting for them for pretty much. Man, and fast forward to after that game, you have to imagine all the sports journalists are trying to type up this game. I'm kind of the similar way with it. I could easily talk about this game for 20 to 30 minutes, just details, attending the game, the crowd around me, the emotional roller coaster. I'm going to save that for the live stream so I can keep the recap video very brief and keep it just to this game. But my goodness, what a game. What a game. This game had everything. It started off with the Texas 3 TD score in the first quarter. It had the Caleb Williams spark and the Rattler benching. It had Mims Sooner magic landing. It had Kennedy Brooks's double touchdowns. The first one to give us the lead, and then the second one with the walk-off touchdown. And I'll tell y'all right now, where I was sitting, I was in section 102, which is in the upper deck of the Cotton Bowl. I was one row away from touching the wall of the stadium at the upper deck at that point. We were in 102, row 32, section 102, row 32. So we were had a good kind of angle of the Cotton Bowl. Guys, I got to see both Brooks's TDs happen in front of us, right in the middle of the field. That was something special. That's a memory that's going to stay with me forever. The Caleb Williams and the Mims touchdowns, the way they had it was the way they ran it down the field or caught the ball. The lower deck was covering the sidelines for it. So we actually did not see that, but we saw as much as we could from it. But again, such a special game. If you wanted a movie or someone to introduce to college football, this would be the game that I would do that for. It has the rivalry. It has the story. It has the drama. And it has our Sooners winning. But man, this game, I can't get over this game. I can't get over how great this game is. I have the same feelings that I have about this game when I read a good book, or I play the first time, or I watch an amazing movie the first time, or play a video game and experience it the first time, or try that first bite of food. This is just one of those type of games. You just cannot explain it. You can just keep on talking about it. Who knows what this game is going to look like in 10, 20, 30 years, if this is going to be one that goes down in lore, if this one's going to be one that's just one of another ones and just stuff happen. I don't know. Who knows on it? But right now, it is definitely the game to talk about. You got to give OU credit too. Going down 2 touchdowns in the first roughly 2 minutes of the game. Let's be honest. OU teams in the past and many other teams would have rolled over and would have just said, we're losing this game. There's just nothing what we can do. But OU, to their credit, just clawed and scratched back. They were not going to lose this game. They were going to win this game. Going into the first quarter, Texas jumped out again to that early 14-0 lead. when I was around other people, we had to explain to people that we're already like, this game's over. Like, we're about to get rolled. This is about to be on the other side of the ass whoopings we've given to Texas before. We had to explain to those people, guys, there is still 58 minutes left of football to play. There is still 4 quarters. The game is not decided in the first quarter. There is more than enough time for OU to get things together, to get composure and win the game. Let's be honest, we were getting whipped in the trenches and in the first half. We looked unprepared. We were getting embarrassed, and it did look like Texas's game to win. We just could not get over our mistakes. We looked slow. We looked really, really sluggish. I'm not going to say we didn't care. There was something missing from it. But boy, when Caleb Williams touchdown run, when he went from the 4th and 1, we just needed him to get the first yard, and he ran and got the touchdown. That sparked something. That sparked something on this team to make it 14-28. They knew they weren't out of it yet. They knew something was there. At that time, guys, I'll be honest, the crowd was wanting Caleb in there at that point and to bench Radler. They did not see the consistency with Radler. They were saying that Caleb has the team behind his back at the most. You got to go with the hot hand at this point. And I think when Radler had that horrible, horrible fumble that he had the first pick in the first quarter. I think him and Stogner were not on the same page. But when he made that fumble, and it was a bad fumble, I can't describe how bad it was. That was a very rookie mistake to do. It was proven his head was not in the game at this point. Even at that point, I've been at this point of you go with the experienced quarterback, you give him his chance. At that point, even I said, it's time. It's time to bench Radler. He's not helping the team. He's only hindering it. And if you want to win this game, you got to throw Caleb in. Even Texas was agreeing with us on that because earlier in College Game Day, they said, we wanted Caleb. Hindsight kind of sucks, doesn't it, guys? When Caleb came in, the entire team just played better. With Caleb being able to be mobile with his legs, unlike Spencer is, it gave the O-line a little bit more breathing room. It gave them just enough, and it changed entirely how the Texas defense has to respond. I'll be honest, by the end of this game, he looked like Baker on the field with his poise and concentration and not giving up on the play. The people around me knows that with Radler, where he would hesitate. He would give up on the play. He wouldn't do his reads properly. Again, with this game, Caleb was the complete opposite, and he was leading that team, and those guys were doing everything in their power to ensure that Caleb at least gave it his all, and they left nothing to doubt for it. They were going to lose. It was going to be everything all in. This was your season. And you could tell once Caleb came in and the stuff just started clicking, everything started going. The run game started to improve. Marvin Mims was finally targeted for the entire season for it and got his first touchdown of the season on a wonderful play. You could tell the momentum was changing. You could tell the attitudes were changing. You could just see how much the OU crowd was in it, and the Texas crowd looked like they were deflated. I'm going to be honest, they knew it was coming. They knew the tide was coming. They knew there was too much time left. They knew OU was coming. There is just so much emotion for it. It was just an emotional roller coaster from both sides with it. The true, most purest OU Texas way you could think of. That's how it was. By the time we reached the fourth quarter, like I said, the fans knew it was coming. The crowd was begging. Ironically, the crowd was begging the offense to score to get the Texas offense back on the field because we all noticed they were tired. They were exhausted. Stutzman was getting to them. Quarterback, they were getting to him. They were causing so much pressure. They were very, very, very tired, and we had to get to those guys. So that we were just begging them. And how could you not think of the entire game without even going into the individual performances as well? Kennedy Brooks had 217 yards on 25 carries, 8.7 yards per average. He beat Bijan Robinson in the run game today. I want to let that sink in and repeat it again. Kennedy Brooks beat Bijan Robinson at rushing today. The Heisman push that Texas has been doing with Bijan, Kennedy Brooks just straight up beat him today. That is absolutely amazing with it. And I outright said, I think Caleb was the spark we needed to get this going, because in my preview video, I said this was the first time OU was going to go over 40 points. Definitely went over 40 points. I did think, though, Kennedy Brooks was the MVP. We all knew they had to win the turnover game and they had to win the rushing game. And boy, did OU win the rushing game. I'll go into some of the other final stats here in just a sec, but boy, did they do it. But how could you not forget Kennedy Brooks without Caleb Williams, the spark? You know, like I said earlier, Caleb fans were chanting, "We want Caleb. We want Caleb." I just come to this conclusion that Texas is our bro at this point. They got Mike Stoops fired for us, and they got Caleb in for us. At this point, it's also funny too, where I said hindsight is 2020. I think they played with the monkey's paw, because when they realized Caleb was coming in and what was about to happen, they went, no, not like this, not like this at all. When you look at Caleb Williams' stat line, 16 to 25 for 212 yards and 8.5 yards per throw. Caleb was a monster as well. Like both him and Kennedy just led this team to a victory. But again, everybody contributed. Marvin Mims with his incredible catch that you saw on the pylon cam, just much from being out of bounds. Jeremiah Hall, Perrion Winfrey, like everybody. And I have to say, I was criticizing Riley's game plan in the very beginning, but I do want to give him kudos as well for sticking with the run game. I think with Marcus Major being out of coming back, it opened up all the possibilities in that he didn't have to be anywhere as conservative as he has been with the run game. I still question him on the kicking the field goals with some of them, especially when Caleb Williams came in. But as the game showed, he didn't want to leave points on the field. And at the end of the day, that's what mattered. He is that's why he's the head coach and he's paid the millions of dollars. I can criticize some of the stuff that he has not done and is very blatant with it. But hey, on those snap decisions, that's why he's the head coach. I want to also give kudos to both teams for playing all 4 quarters and keeping your foot on the pedal. That has been a problem for us for many, many quarters of we just take our foot off the pedal in the 3rd and 4th quarter. This was not the case. OU kept their foot on the pedal, and they made it very clear they were going to win this game. I want to talk about Texas as well for a moment. Kudos to Texas for playing a hell of a game. There is no other way you can describe it. Texas came out and sucker punched us in the mouth in the first 2 minutes of the game. They sent a clear message that this was not going to be a blowout game like it has been before. It's going to be another close one. As you saw it with just a touchdown, it was a very close game as well. Also makes it an exciting game. But going into this game, they care about this game. It's about time like OU stops coming out flat and cares about this game a little much too. But we said what you had to do was load the box up, stop Casey Thompson, and force him to beat us with his arm. And boy, did he almost beat us with his arm. Those long balls were giving us fits all day long. And it was because Woody Washington is still out and Turner Yell went out after the first series. We threw some inexperienced guys in, and they burned us too. Kudos to Texas. They burned us with them as they should. They should absolutely have done what they would have. Anybody else would have as the same way. I still think with Texas, though, we didn't sell out as much on the run that I thought we could have. But again, even then, Bijan still had a pretty solid day. He carried the ball for 20 yards for 100 or 20 times for 130 yards. It was an average day for him. It wasn't a bad day in the slightest for him. But again, that just showed like the defense stepped up and just contained it, as for the most part, contained Bijan and stopped him from having these explosive plays as much as he could. He was definitely a factor on the field, but it could have been a lot worse with Bijan if they didn't do it. And again, Whittington, Worthy, and more, they were giving us fits as well. I believe it's Xavier Worthy who's just a freshman. He's going to be giving us fits for OU Texas for the next couple games and next couple years. So I'm looking forward to those matchups and seeing how our secondary, when they actually show up and we don't have injuries, compete against Xavier Worthy. The big stat that just kept in mind, again, Bob Stoops, credit to Bob. Bob is so wholesome. When he saw OU winning with the Kennedy Brooks, he was just like fist pumping, slamming his hand on the table. Like he was up I think he was up with the crowd with Iowa and Penn State with it. It was a good day for the Stoops family, but man, he was just in it. But he said on the pregame Friday night that you have to win the turnover battle. And in a sense, we did, because we had the crucial turnover late in the third, or late, I think it was either 3rd and 4th quarter, that gave us the touchdown for Kennedy Brooks. I think it was the 4th quarter. But also, too, you had to win the run game. And boy, did OU win the run game. Texas gave up 339 yards of rushing. That is an astronomically large amount. Like, you're not winning games giving up rushing yards like that. Kudos to Kennedy Brooks for exploiting every single part of that defensive line with it. They absolutely abused Texas's defensive line. We also burned them with 323 yards passing at that, or 329 yards of passing. 323 yards. I was reading a different one as well. It was Caleb Williams in the long balls. Once that became a factor, it changed how their defense was going. On the flip side, OU only gave up 128 yards of rushing and 388 yards of passing, but a lot of those, again, were from Caleb and those long balls. they weren't really completing too much with it. And the question was, when Casey got hurt, so many C's, when Casey got hurt, we do have to wonder if it made his throwing motion not as accurate, because I think it was after the game, it was either his thumb or his pinky, they said that was really hurting him, but they weren't going to take him out of the game. We noticed in the stands where when he would throw it, it would be wibbly wobbly balls, and they weren't going to be darts. Caleb's were darts. That we were questioning that, but we said maybe it's not as bad as what we thought when he was injured, because he was still warming up. He was still throwing balls. But still, though, just an incredible game. I could talk about other things too. Like, there's a side note I do want to mention about the refs. Man, both sides were just angry. At the end of the day, the refs just let them play. OU fans got really, really angry with them reviewing every single little detail and missing very blatant calls after they had to review it. Because literally it would go, didn't happen. The big screen would show it was very blatantly obvious. Oh, time to review it. Up, guys, y'all were right. Like, it was, especially on the fumble recovery from Kelly and the fumble on Brooks where he was down. Like, it was just frustrating from that side. But again, Texas had frustration too, where they said they were ignoring everything. We're not calling holding. We're not calling pass interference. Like, both sides had their gripes on it, but they let them play at this point. There was very minimal penalties. They let them basically leave it on the field at this point. Other thing I'm very proud of, and I was a part of it, the commenters and former players that were there mentioned that the crowd was a huge factor. Based on what I saw from some tweets from it, they said the crowd had like a 116 decibel level. If that's true, our little section of the Cotton Bowl was much louder than even Tennessee was. I don't know how true that one is based on like 100,000 versus 40,000, but I mean, who knows? People were cheering. People, when someone would start like defense, it would cause the entire side to like almost domino effect. Everybody would be doing it. People were figured out to make it even louder. They were slamming their hands on the metal bleachers to cause artificial noises, doing everything they can to throw Texas off. We were making it very tough for them for their play calling. We were definitely a factor in that as well. And I will say, to the OU's fans' credit, we were definitely much more energetic than the Texas side was with trying to distract the offense from being able to do calls or trying to get them for false starts. OU side was electric. I cannot describe how electric it was for us. There's been some games that I've been to that is electric. No, this was electric. To get an idea even how much it was, I came back, I'm sunburned on the back of my neck from it. I'm a little red still. My friend, though, she is a raccoon face, but she clapped so hard cheering. We were screaming everything. She has bruises and calluses on her hands from that game. I'm not kidding. You cannot make this up. That's how much we were energized in this game. We sent a message that the crowd was sticking with this until the very end. You don't, as James Allen once said, you don't leave the game until the very end or until that scoreboard says 0-0-0 final. The crowd was in it. They wanted it, and it was either going to be a heartbreaker for us or it was going to be the most epic comeback ever. And boy, did we have a comeback with it. At the end of the day, this is going to be a game where we all say, where were you when Kennedy Brooks won the game with a walk-off touchdown or close to a walk-off touchdown? That was something special to see. This is something you're going to talk about in the future with your kids, grandkids. It's a special game. It's a very special game. Now, I'm going to wrap up. The big thing is, where do we go from here? We're 6-0. We survived our first gut check. The golden hat remains with us. We're 3-0 in conference play. TCU is next week at 6:30 p.m. under the lights in Norman. We have questions still about Woody Washington and Turner Yell. We desperately need them back on our secondary. We got burned a whole lot, and gosh, we need the help back on our secondary as well. We have to wonder, why do we always come out flat of games as a rate? Is it because of how it was with Spencer in the play calling? Is it maybe they want Kevin? Who knows? That's questions in the future that we still got to figure out. We also got to figure out quarterback controversy, because let's be honest, guys, this was the absolute worst case scenario for Rattler. The most you could have asked Caleb to go in was just make it close. We may lose, but make it close. This was the hero of the Cotton Bowl, of the Red River Showdown. He came in and won the game and got his points and made Riley's offense start working. The floodgates, at least for this game, opened. This was the worst case scenario for Rattler, and I feel bad for him. But that's for a future video at this point. I want to focus on the celebration. The other ones we got to worry about is leaving some of the silly leaving the timeouts on the scoreboard. I question Riley's time management on that. Riley seems like he's always had some time management problems, and this is not one of those games that can be an exception to it. And then as well, we just had so many silly mistakes. Texas had silly mistakes too, but it seemed like at the beginning of the game, Texas was going to win, not because OU was worse than they were. It was because OU couldn't get out of each other's way. We couldn't catch the ball. We were causing fumbles. We were getting in each other's way. It was all those little silly mistakes that can add up in a 60-minute game at this point. But again, that's for the next slot. That's for the live stream. That's for recaps videos for in the future before TCU. For now, let's celebrate our win against our rival down in Austin. It was a good game. Again, guys, thanks for joining me on this review. That's it until roughly on Wednesday. I want to do like a gut check video. And tonight, possibly, maybe, we may have the live stream. I'm either going to have it tonight, Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday to kind of celebrate the recap of the Texas game. The reason why is we got a lot of weather here, and there's just storms popping up everywhere at this point. And for all of y'all who know about Hell's Highway from the Lawton Chickasha Moore corridor, that's what it's starting to look like today. I'm hoping it's straight line winds and just rain and thunderstorms. But if I have to cancel it, we will for sure at least try to have it Monday, or we'll for sure to have it on Wednesday, because I want to make sure I have Oni, Kuno, Sean on, and Gavin on at this point. I want to make it a party, bring everybody in, kind of the last hurrah before we focus on TCU. The team can focus on TCU. I just want to make sure we have that moment for us as the fans, just so I can share my experience and stuff at the state fair and everything as well with it. Again, though, this is what we expected from the team, and this game is what we expected from the team, and this is what we hope going forward with it. So, again, weather permitting, live stream tonight. Otherwise, I'll let y'all know in a little short video when the next live stream will be. Comment, rate, subscribe, guys. I appreciate y'all always tuning in and listening to me ramble and just dissect everything for about 10 to 20 minutes. I really do appreciate it. I know it's really rough watching just one person, but I really do hope that y'all appreciate my analytics and just my passion for the football as well. Again, tonight, Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, live stream with it. End of the day, let's wrap this up. I am either 4-0, I am 4-1 record at the Cotton Bowl. There's a question on that lost one that I think it is, but I've been told that it was the same game when we won it. I still need to clarify, but either way, I'm going to roll with it for now. 4-0 record at the Cotton Bowl. The Golden Hat remains in Norman for another year, and this is the fourth year we have beat Texas in a row. Gritty SEC win, am I right? I had to get that in, guys. I'm so sorry. So Boomer Sooner, there's only one Oklahoma. And just remember, horns down.